afternoon and welcome to this Thursday, January 24th edition of Westman Newsline. I'm Colton Yarch alongside Nolan Windsor and Dylan Donald. In today's news, we'll tell you about a new gambling website for Manitoba, as well as a Manitoba elder who says he will end his hunger strike. And Nolan will be in with sports. Nolan, I understand the Raptors nearly beat the defending champs.
That's right, Colton. The Raptors and the Heat were tied at the end of regulation. Alas, they couldn't hang on. I'll have that and more later on in sports.
Thanks, Nolan. And Dylan will be in with weather. Dylan, I've got my rod and bait ready to hit the ice to do some fishing this weekend. But when I return to Brandon on Monday, I'd like to see this nice weather continue. What can you tell me about that?
Colton, I'll tell you it'll be gorgeous if you at least bring me back some fish. But in all seriousness, the beginning of next week won't be terrible. -8 for a high. Currently in Brandon, cloudy sky and -23 degrees. With those winds from the southeast at 30 kilometers an hour, it is feeling more like -37 with the wind chill. I'll be back later on the show with full weather details.
Thanks, Dylan. Country legend Kenny Rogers will be playing in Westman Place at the Keystone Center tonight, and those concert goers will be getting some great gambling advice. And speaking of gambling, Brandonites who would like to try their hand at poker, blackjack, or even roulette will not have to travel to Las Vegas or even Winnipeg. Just before noon on Wednesday, Manitoba Lotteries launched their own PlayNow.com website. Any Manitoban with a credit card who is of legal age will be eligible to play the games online. Sports betting and slots will be available as well. Lotteries executives and the Sullinger government are talking about the safety and reputation of online gambling, while Manitoba Progressive Conservative leader Ryan Pallister is concerned about the government's reliance on gambling. Manitoba Lotteries invests 2% of its net income to prevent problem gambling, while 3% will go to the Addictions Foundation of Manitoba. By 2018, Manitoba is expected to earn $17 million annually from the service. An overnight attack in a residential Vancouver neighborhood has resulted in the death of one man. Eyewitnesses say the man was swarmed by attackers wielding bats and a sword. There is speculation the attack may have been gang-related, but that has not been confirmed. While police are continuing their investigation, longtime residents of the formerly quiet neighborhood are expressing shock that such an incident could take place in the streets they call home. In light of yet another campus shooting 2 days ago in Houston, Texas, Westman Newsline asked, how safe do you feel at either ACC or BU?
I still feel pretty safe, but I guess nowhere's invulnerable to it.
We also have more help for students, so that could lead to less violence.
I wish there was a little more security. I have been at other campuses with higher security.
I feel really safe, not too worried about the security.
And I do think that we have a lot of measures in place that if something did happen, we'd be able to keep the students safe.
A manager in charge of some of the child welfare workers and supervisors involved with Phoenix Sinclair says he has no concerns about anyone's job performance. Dan Berg told an inquiry into the death of the 5-year-old girl there's nothing that he's read that jumps out at him. However, he admits that when he started his job as assistant program manager at Winnipeg Child and Family Services, morale was low and the workload was high. He also says there was widespread confusion about the standards workers were to follow. Phoenix was in and out of care from the time she was born in 2000 until her murder in 2005 by her mother, Samantha Kematch, and stepfather, Carl McKay. We live in the technological age, and one company is trying to stage a comeback. There's a lot of talk regarding the new BlackBerry 10, and Westman Newsline asked, can BlackBerry become relevant in the world of smartphones again?
It'll be hard to say whether they can recapture. Definitely apps, the library of apps is definitely what's driving a lot of consumer choices these days.
Certainly BlackBerry's had the lock on security for a long time, and you can even see it in the competitors' advertising. So if they can sort of hold that security and really expand, make something more flexible, then they should be successful, hopeful. Anyway, it's good to have competition.
I believe it might be, but it'll be a tough call because Apple already has a really strong foundation, and it'll be really hard to compete with them.
I say it might be too early in the game to decide whether BlackBerry will win the market, but it definitely has good potential to be a strong contender in this race.
And now we'll move on from research in motion and look at where the other markets are currently sitting.
Westman Newsline. Produced by the IMA Media Production students of Assiniboine Community College. Local news, weather, and sports on Brandon's only TV newscast, Westman Newsline, airing at 1 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on WCG TV.
Turning to international news, police allege a drunken driver went on a hit-and-run spree in 2 counties in Georgia, killing 1 person and critically injuring another. The 70-year-old man now faces charges including drunken driving and vehicular homicide. Will Frampton has the details.
This is how the suspect's car was finally brought to a stop. Police believe it may have been involved in as many as 17 accidents. The driver finally had to stop after ramming into the front of this restaurant just off Highway 78. This is also the area where someone was killed when their car had to swerve while trying to avoid the alleged drunk driver. The passenger in this vehicle did not survive. We spoke with a victim from one of the other accidents. They were fortunate to avoid serious injury.
He went around us and found another car to the left of us and slammed into his car.
Oh, I thought he was going to kill us. By the grace of God, that we're alive. Shake it up. Hurt a little bit, just sore, but we're alive.
A sewer blast caught on camera, history on display, and a celebrity wrapped in sugar. The video that will have you talking is next, and take a look at this.
Take a look at this. A sewer explosion rocked a neighborhood in China Wednesday. Surveillance cameras on various buildings captured the blast. No one was injured, but there is significant damage to the area. If you're a history fanatic, check this out. One of Abraham Lincoln's signature stovepipe hats is now on display at his Presidential Library and Museum in Illinois. Historians say Lincoln wore this hat before becoming president. He bought it in the 1850s.
It was from a well-known hat maker in Springfield. It's made out of beaver fur, very warm, good for wearing around the prairies on the cold, drafty days.
The hat will be on display for 6 months. And take a look at this. Lady Gaga has never looked sweeter. The owner of a bakery in Phoenix made a life-size cake in the superstar's likeness. This crazy concoction weighs 180 pounds.
There's a wood structure that's up through her, and dowels, PVC pipe, lots of wood structures coming up, so it helps the cantilever hold the weight of the cake.
The cake was in honor of Gaga's concert in Phoenix Wednesday night. It won't go on sale, but will be on display for fans to check out. For Take a Look at This, I'm Elizabeth Corridon.
That's it for news, but stay tuned. Dylan's up next with Newsline Weather.
Good afternoon with Newsline Weather. I'm Dylan Donald. Thankfully, I had my vehicle plugged in overnight, and even then it didn't want to start this morning due to this cold weather. But don't despair, we'll get a break from days like today very soon. Currently in Brandon, cloudy skies and minus 23 degrees. With the winds from the southeast at 30 kilometers an hour, it's feeling more like minus 37 with the wind chill. This evening, cloudy sky, minus 17. Winds from the southeast at 30 kilometers an hour, making it more like minus 39. And to add insult to injury, we should be getting about 5 centimeters of snow. Overnight, clearing sky and minus 24. Winds from the northeast at 20 kilometers an hour will make the temperature more like minus 32 with the wind chill. Turning to our radar image now, I promised you some flurries, and although yesterday's image attempted to prove me wrong, today's will back me up. Heavy precipitation is expected for much of southern Manitoba, delivering flurries to our area. Taking a look at our satellite image now, cloud cover for the better parts of western provinces, especially when it comes to ours. Taking a look at the 5-day forecast, sunny skies and warmer temperatures are on their way, although tomorrow it'll still be chilly, a high of minus 18 and a low of minus 24. The weekend and the beginning of next week is looking pretty good though. Saturday a high of minus 9, minus 7 for Sunday, and to kick off next week, a high of minus 8. Now let's take a look around the region. Winnipeg and Portage la Prairie are sitting at minus 25 this hour, while Dauphin reporting in at minus 22. Neepawa minus 24, Carberry minus 23 degrees, Killarney minus 22, Minnedosa minus 23, and Verdun rounds out the region in at minus 22 degrees. Seasonal norms for this time of year are a high of minus 12 and a low of -23. The record high was set back in 1973 when temperature was plus 5.6 degrees. The record low was established in 1966, a very cold year back then, when temperatures reached -41.7 degrees. Once again in Brandon, cloudy sky and -23. With the winds from the southeast at 30 kilometers an hour, it's feeling more like -37 with that wind chill. That's it for weather, but stick around. Nolan's up next with Newsline Sports.
Good afternoon with Newsline Sports. I'm Nolan Windsor. The Brandon Wheat Kings have 2 new names on their roster. After making a few deals at the trade deadline, here's a look at the Wheaties' newest players.
The Brandon Wheat Kings were very active on January 10th, which was trade deadline day in the Western Hockey League. Brandon made 3 deals on the day, 2 of which were highly expected. Local product Michael Ferland was dealt to Saskatoon for a first-round pick in this year's WHL Bantam draft, while Alessio Bertaggia was sent to Spokane for import Merrick Kalous, 2 draft picks, and a prospect. Kalous is enjoying success with his new line mates thus far, netting 4 points in 5 games with the new club.
I think we got a good chemistry, and hopefully we'll keep going.
The Weeds completed their first trade of the day when they sent 17-year-old defenseman Ayrton Nickel to the Everett Silvertips in exchange for 18-year-old blue liner Nick Walters and the rights to 16-year-old Elkhorn, Manitoba product Taylor Sanheim. Walters, who was drafted in the National Hockey League by St. Louis, is known to bring swagger to the defensive position.
I'm just a simple, hard-nosed D-man, good first pass out of my zone. I'll jump up in the play if I see openings, but, I don't do it too much. And, yeah, as long as the puck's staying out of my end, my net, and in the other, it's just the way it should be.
With pro careers ahead for Ferland and Bertaggia and an unlikely playoff berth for Brandon this season, head coach Dwayne Gilawaychuk says the shakeup was necessary.
It's a situation where I think that we had to make some adjustments as a team and as an organizational. I think that we've taken some steps in the right direction.
The 2 new additions have chipped in with 7 points in 5 games for their new squad and have helped the Black and Gold to a 3-2 record since the trade deadline.
The Wheaties will kick off a 3-game road trip tomorrow night in Red Deer. Dwayne Wade scored 35 points. LeBron James got his 34th career triple-double, and the Miami Heat rallied from a 15-point deficit to beat the Toronto Raptors 123-116 in overtime on Wednesday. James finished with 31 points, 11 assists, and 10 rebounds for Miami, getting the last board on Toronto's final shot of the night. Wade added 7 assists, including the one that set up Ray Allen for the 3-pointer that clinched the win with 59.3 seconds left in overtime. The Heat finished overtime on a 13-2 run, erasing a 4-point hole. Alan Anderson scored 20 points for Toronto, leading 7 Raptors in double figures. Daryl Arthur scored 20 points, and Mike Conley added 19 as the Memphis Grizzlies beat Los Angeles 106-93 Wednesday night, handing the Lakers their 4th straight loss and 10th in 12 games. Lakers coach Mike D'Antoni had talked before the game about how having an all-star team with players not having learned their pecking order. Yet Los Angeles lost its 7th consecutive road game, and center Dwight Howard missed the second half after aggravating a sore shoulder. Rudy Gay, Zach Randolph, and Tony Allen added 12 points apiece as Memphis improved to 12-0 when scoring at least 100 points. Kobe Bryant scored 29 points for the Lakers. Metta World Peace added 15, Pau Gasol 13, and Earl Clark 11. Toronto Maple Leafs forward Joffrey Lupul fractured his forearm in Wednesday night's 5-2 win over the Pittsburgh Penguins out indefinitely. The 29-year-old Lupul was in front of the net during a power play midway through the second period when a slap shot from teammate Dion Phaneuf smashed into his arm. Lupul left the game immediately and did not return. And Colton, that's it for sports.
Thanks, Nolan, and that's all the time we have for you today. Be sure to join us again next Tuesday for Brandon's only TV newscast, Westman Newsline.